Level 1, Armed Robber Jason. You arrive at a Supermax federal prison in a heavily armored special vehicle with fully tinted windows. The route is kept strictly secret, as the surrounding landscape no longer matters to you. This massive Colorado facility sits thousands of feet above sea level. The air here is extremely thin, dry, and intentionally chilled for every high-risk inmate. This facility currently holds around 400 of the most dangerous criminals from across the nation. Individuals deemed too dangerous for maximum security prisons to safely control are sent here. Robber Jason ended up here after a spree of violent armed robberies that systematically crossed multiple state lines. Your first level of confinement offers no soft conditions or easy daily hard time routine. This is the absolute bottom floor of a rigid system where the gray concrete floor feels much harder than any ordinary ceiling. Your single personal cell measures the standard size of roughly 7 by 12 feet. All built-in interior furniture, including the bed, desk, stool, and sink, is cast entirely out of solid concrete. You take your daily hot shower directly inside the small isolated concrete area of your cell. A single narrow window always reveals only a tiny sliver of the distant, harsh Colorado blue sky. You leave your cell for just 1 hour each day for mandatory solo exercise. No direct physical contact with other inmates is permitted in this strictly isolated unit. Local guards constantly monitor your every move through a small slot in the heavy steel door. Before the door ever opens, your hands are securely restrained in heavy, solid steel handcuffs. You haven't spoken to another human being without steel barriers between you for over 4 full days. This strict protocol is designed to systematically eliminate any potential risk of new high-threat incidents. You yourself are the primary threat that forced prison officials to create these unrelenting rules. Level completed. Before we jump into the next tier of the simulation, drop a subscribe so you never miss a new story. Thanks for being here and watching now. Let's get back to it. Level 2, Drug Lord Carlos. Your massive organization successfully moved illicit substances across 17 separate, densely populated U.S. states. Special agents from the DEA spent 4 full years building this case. The comprehensive indictment spanned 41 pages of detailed, irrefutable evidence against your group. The trial lasted 3 weeks and concluded with a harsh 40-year prison sentence. You were isolated to prevent you from running multi-million-dollar operations from inside a standard federal penitentiary. Ordinary penal institutions cannot stop the flow of information from a seasoned criminal with vast financial resources. All of your incoming and outgoing mail is meticulously inspected by specially trained personnel at this high-security facility. Officers search for coded instructions hidden within routine household letters from your close relatives. Your brief weekly phone calls are fully recorded and analyzed by the prison's specialized investigative unit. Visits are permitted only through thick, bulletproof glass via a monitored intercom, with 0 physical contact. During the first month, your cartel tried in vain to pass secret messages through bribed attorneys or staff. The unique architecture of this facility was designed not just for punishment, but to achieve total isolation. Your criminal network continued to operate for another 14 months until agents completely dismantled it. You were entirely unaware of these developments. Sitting in your soundproof, solitary concrete cell, that small sliver of distant sky remains unchanged. Even as Colorado's weather shifts rapidly and unpredictably, 40 days in these conditions feel longer to an inmate than 40 long, grueling calendar years. The days blur into complete monotony, stripping a person of any clear sense of the passage of time. The guards who deliver your meal trays daily have watched this complex process of psychological adaptation unfold many times. They silently hand over the hot rations, conduct a quick roll call, and immediately move on to the next door. Your past fortune of millions of dollars holds absolutely no value within these cold concrete walls. Level 3, Gang Leader Tyrone. Your active gang membership makes placing you in the general prison population a constant critical threat. The presence of a figure like you instantly unites allies and triggers violent clashes with rival inmate factions. Federal agents documented your lethal orders issued from inside 2 previous U.S. correctional facilities. Within these concrete walls, your criminal rank completely loses its influence and meaning. There are no subordinates here to organize and no rivals to battle for prison turf. You exist here merely as an isolated individual, which completely defies the core principles of your former crew. The guards know your criminal history inside and out, yet they maintain the exact same indifference toward every inmate. Being treated like a rank-and-file prisoner is the system's primary tool for neutralizing your former authority. The hours stretch on endlessly, making the absolute silence your toughest daily psychological trial. You have been here for 8 months now, without a single opportunity to send word out to your associates. Your gang knows you are physically in this prison only through official press releases from the Bureau of Prisons. However, your exact cell number and unit location remain strictly classified from all outside parties. The interior blueprint of this modern facility is never disclosed, even to close relatives or civil attorneys. Out on the streets, your high status might still hold weight, but in here, it's just a piece of paper in a file. Staff carry out their daily duties with routine precision, displaying neither emotion nor respect for your past. The inability to command your subordinates feeds a constant sense of deep frustration and complete helplessness. Not a single dollar from your criminal wealth can alter this unyielding prison routine. The system is engineered to utterly crush any attempt to regain control over street-level criminal operations. You are forced to adapt to a total absence of attention from those around you and from facility staff. These concrete walls sever you from the outside world far more effectively than any other prison in the country. Level 4. Kidnapper Derek. The Federal Kidnapping Act stands as one of the oldest and most severe statutes in our nation. Crossing state lines during the commission of the crime automatically places the case under U.S. federal jurisdiction. Your high-profile offense involved holding multiple victims captive in an underground bunker for 3 months. The judge described your methods as exceptionally sophisticated, leading to a maximum aggravated sentence. Inside this prison, any movement outside your cell takes place strictly under a 2-guard escort. Guards issue crisp commands and constantly monitor complete compliance with all security measures. Physical distance between the escort officers and the inmate is calculated down to the inch to prevent a surprise attack. Your master file classifies you as a dangerous manipulator capable of calculated and extreme cruelty. Officers act strictly by the book, completely devoid of personal bias or unnecessary human emotion. Your lengthy sentence spans longer than the career track of most young guards in this high-security facility. The officers escorting you today will retire long before this arduous sentence reaches its end. Even the next generation of correctional officers will finish their careers before your potential release. The prison system maintains total continuity of its rules, regardless of staff turnover or the passage of decades. Constant, total control leaves zero opportunity to leverage your high intellectual capacity. You are forced to comply with every command from your escort without the slightest room for defiance or debate. Every step down the corridor is accompanied by the clanking of heavy chains on your legs and fully secured hands. Adapting to constant physical restraint becomes your only way to preserve what remains of your mental stability. The concrete surroundings offer a daily reminder of the inevitability of punishment for severe crimes committed against innocent citizens. Kidnapping people for $1 million ransom ended in permanent confinement within this great cage. Harsh reality has stripped away any prospect of ever seeing free civilian life again. Level 5. Mobster Vincenzo. You held a high-ranking position in an international Mafia syndicate operating across 3 countries. Federal law enforcement presented evidence of your organization trying to eliminate witnesses inside standard prisons. 2 key prosecution witnesses suddenly died under mysterious circumstances right before trial. Prosecutors insisted on sending you here, backing their request with an extensive high-threat assessment report. Other members of your crime family are held in this unit, but all contact between you is strictly impossible. The administration intentionally gathered you in one place to prevent you from destabilizing other facilities. The strict segregation protocol guarantees zero possibility of coordinating moves or passing down crucial orders. Staff are fully aware of your familial and criminal ties to other inmates in this block. Attorney visits are permitted only 4 times a year in a specially equipped room with a glass barrier. Communicating with your defense counsel remains your sole bridge to an ongoing, drawn-out legal process. You are aware that several former associates are cooperating with prosecutors, bringing fresh, heavy indictments. Legal proceedings drag on for years, but in your current situation, time is the one thing you have in abundance. Time is the only resource in this place that is not subject to tight restrictions or rationing. The administration cares nothing for your past wealth or your influence in New York or Chicago crime circles. Every single day mirrors the last, creating the sensation of an endless stretch inside a closed concrete box. You watch the slow creep of shadows across the concrete wall from the single high, narrow window. Attempts to challenge your conditions of confinement in federal courts are routinely dismissed due to extreme security risks. Isolation from the syndicate gradually destroys your former power to direct illicit cash flows. A mobster of your tier turns into a simple, numbered inmate here, stripped of all privileges or perks. This punishment serves as a stark demonstration of the government system's total dominance over organized crime. Level 6. Mafia Boss Salvatore. The key difference between a boss and a soldier lies in the application of special administrative measures. This unique federal status severely restricts and monitors all of your external contacts and mail. Every letter is exhaustively inspected prior to dispatch or delivery by specialists in criminal ciphers. Phone calls require advanced topic approval and are wiretapped by trained FBI analysts. Confidential conversations with defense counsel are subject to special review, a policy repeatedly challenged in court. These restrictions are approved personally by the U.S. Attorney General and renewed annually after a thorough review. Guards carry out protocol requirements without personal commentary or any display of emotion. They are not the authors of these tough rules, merely precise executors of established security mandates. Escorting a boss requires a minimum of 3 officers under the direct personal supervision of the unit shift commander. Your housing plan was drafted long before you ever set foot in this strict correctional facility. You have never read this document, even though it fully dictates every single minute of your life. Attempts to pass instructions through attorneys are met with the immediate revocation of future visitation rights. All your multi-million-dollar offshore bank accounts proved useless against the unyielding machinery of federal justice. You can no longer influence decision-making inside your former criminal empire. Isolating the boss triggers the gradual collapse of the entire structure you built over many years. Daily roll call proceeds strictly on schedule, regardless of your health or willingness to interact with staff. The concrete cell becomes your permanent residence until the end of a long, 50-year sentence. You are forced to get used to a complete absence of executive power or the ability to issue orders. The Supermax system completely equates a mob boss with any other dangerous inmate in the facility. Your story serves as a cautionary tale for anyone who tries to place themselves above federal law. Level 7. Prison Killer Victor. You took the life of another inmate while serving a life sentence in a standard federal prison. It was a calculated, cold-blooded murder, not a sudden conflict or an act of self-defense in a brawl. A lengthy investigation resulted in fresh federal charges and another trial in federal court. The prosecution demanded the maximum penalty to demonstrate the absolute force of law inside correctional facilities. The additional sentence carries symbolic weight, given that you were never going to see the outside anyway. Symbolism matters to the system because it asserts the absolute validity of rules under any circumstances. The previous prison lacked the technical capability to securely isolate someone capable of committing murder again. This complex was built specifically to house offenders who have demonstrated an extreme level of danger to others. Guards reviewed the report on your crime before you were even transported to this unit. That file dictates your escort procedures, cell assignment, and your daily solo yard schedule. Total protection from contact with other prisoners eliminates the possibility of repeating such violent acts in the future. Concrete is entirely indifferent to your past brutality or the physical strength you once displayed. The door slot and the thin sliver of sky remain equally indifferent to every criminal held here. You are denied any items that could theoretically be fashioned into a makeshift deadly weapon. Even mealtimes take place under strict visual monitoring through a specialized window in the steel door. Any disciplinary infraction triggers an immediate tightening of conditions and the loss of minor privileges. You are forced to spend 23 hours a day in total solitude without a single person to talk to. Thoughts of the murder bring no remorse, but current conditions make you regret what you did. The system has proven its ability to fully neutralize even the most dangerous and violent offenders in the country. Your future is confined to the dimensions of this concrete cell until the final day of your earthly existence. Level 8. Serial Killer Arthur. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit spent 7 years solving your case. The geographic footprint of your crimes spanned 4 states, and the trial was covered by all national news networks. Victims' relatives testified in court for 2 days, demanding the absolute maximum punishment for the killer. Right now, you sit in the exact same cell as a low-level armed robber on level 1, the same concrete, the same sliver of sky, and the same food slot in the steel door. This absolute uniformity is a deliberate choice by a system that refuses to tailor conditions to the scale of a crime. The Bureau of Prisons applies a single isolation standard to all categories of high-risk offenders in the nation. Staff undergo specialized training to perform their duties professionally, detached from the horrific details of your past. Standard procedures shield the guard's mental state from the gruesome specifics of your extensive case file. You are treated with strict professional courtesy, issued your meals, and granted your daily 1-hour exercise allotment. This uniformity of conditions is not an act of mercy, but strict compliance with established internal regulations. The rules draw no distinction between a serial killer and a thief in the adjacent solitary unit. Equal application of protocol is the only form of justice found inside this strict facility. Media and public attention faded long ago, leaving you alone with your memories and concrete walls. You can no longer manipulate people or exert power over human lives. The strict regime completely smothers any attempt to draw special attention from the staff. Days stack into months, and months turn into decades of identical, monotonous existence. Parole was explicitly ruled out by the court's sentence, with no right to future appeal. You have become just another number in a Federal Bureau of Prisons file among hundreds of similar offenders. This concrete bunker has become your final home until the end of your natural life. Level completed. Before we jump into the next tier of the simulation, drop a subscribe so you never miss a new story. Thanks for being here and watching now. Let's get back to it. Level 9. Escape Artist Raymond. You pulled off 2 successful prison breaks over the course of your long criminal career. The first escape was from a county jail, and the second was from a state-run facility. Both busts were the result of prolonged observation and exploiting the smallest security lapses. You search for vulnerabilities in the system as naturally as other people look for exit signs. The architects of this facility consulted with top security experts to account for the tactics of escape artists like you. Thick concrete walls, heavy steel doors, and total surveillance render any new escape attempt completely impossible. Protocols were designed knowing someone would be searching around the clock for the smallest opening. Guards know your escape history and enforce a heightened 3-officer escort protocol. A standard escort consists of 2 officers, but your risk profile demands the constant presence of a 3rd. The decision to increase your security detail was made by the Bureau of Prisons' top analysts based on thorough risk assessments. You meticulously inspect doors, locks, seams, and the sliver of sky, hunting for the smallest systemic glitch. However, there are no security gaps, justifying the massive taxpayer dollars spent to run this facility. Building this specialized prison cost taxpayers tens of millions of US dollars. Over your 2 years here, You have failed to uncover a single viable opportunity for an escape plan. Despite this, you never stop your daily watch of every guard movement during escort. Staff understand your mindset completely and never drop their guard for a single second. The building's design accounts for every potential move by inmates with your level of technical ingenuity. Housing a prisoner like you in a standard facility would pose a constant threat of escape and further crime. You look at the gray concrete, which looks identical to how it did yesterday morning. This sealed facility is the end of the line, where your escape skills have proven completely useless against the system. Level 10, National Security Threat Tarek. Your master file carries the highest level of security classification, accessible only to a tight circle of federal officials. Most unit guards know only the bare minimum required to ensure the safe daily housing of a high-risk inmate. The government possesses full intelligence regarding your involvement in an international organization behind large-scale attacks. You are subject to the most stringent administrative measures available within the U.S. civilian justice system. Your attorney must hold a special top-secret clearance just to conduct rare legal consultations. Your correspondence is reviewed by a team of analysts from multiple intelligence agencies across our nation. Phone calls are completely banned, leaving you with zero contact with your family for over a year. Guards perform their duties fully aware of the importance of isolating an individual representing a high-level international threat. The full scope of your actions remains unknown to the line staff maintaining daily order. They only need to deliver meals on time, conduct roll call, and adhere strictly to escort protocols. They execute these duties identically toward you, the level 1 robber, or any other prisoner. A cell measuring 7 by 12 feet holds the exact same concrete and shows the exact same sky. You represent the absolute highest threat level that the civilian system is built to securely contain. Security protocols do not shift based on the scale of a threat. They are applied with rigid consistency. The officer who hands you your breakfast at 7 in the morning has been on this shift for 3 years. He has served hundreds of different inmates, drawing no distinctions based on their past criminal files. His actions are governed purely by standard operating procedures, not by personal feelings toward your political activities. This unwavering professional consistency is the defining feature of the entire maximum security correctional system. The same cell, the same procedure, and the same sliver of sky apply to every category of national threat. This unyielding uniformity is, in itself, your ultimate real-world sentence for the future.